Welcome to the West London Business Company Spotlight Series, sharing stories from the UK's global gateway. We are the West London experts, and we provide leadership for the world's most connected place to catalyse action for people and planet. Throughout this series, we will be delving into West London businesses to find out how they have grown, the support the West London business has provided, and what we can do to support them further. West London has a rich cultural history and is home to makers, developers, educators, retailers, and so much more. Doing business in West London is great, and we want to make it greater. I'm your host, Amelia Grant, and this is the West London Business Company Spotlight. Welcome, everyone. We're in the height of summer, so it's only appropriate to bring you another hot topic for episode 3. The 10th annual West London Business Awards were launched on Thursday, 7th of July, beginning a nomination process that will celebrate the very best of business in our area. Today, we'll be talking all things WLB Awards with our guest, who is no stranger to picking up an award or two in years past. Barry Bassett is Managing Director at VMI, a Park Royal-based camera rental company which supplies high-end equipment to production companies for producing TV shows, documentaries and movies, amongst all sorts of other projects. A family business, VMI was founded by Barry's father, Jeff, in 1979 as Video Mania Limited, originally selling VHS recorders when the format was relatively new and Betamax was the competitor for recording TV programs. How times have changed. Barry entered the business in 1989 and developed the camera rental side of the business, with the company rebranding in 1993 to VMI, or Video Mania International Limited. Barry took the reins as managing director in 1996, and it's safe to say that he's seen it all with the evolution of video production technologies in his 26 years of guiding the business through multiple highs and the occasional low. On the awards front, VMI has won multiple trade awards through the years, but they are also our reigning Park Royal Business of the Year. Barry himself currently holds the prestigious title of West London Business Leader of the Year, both of which VMI claimed at the 2022 edition of the West London Business Awards. Elsewhere, Barry is also a published author, releasing his autobiography in 2020 entitled Full Experience Living, an inspirational feel-good journey of overcoming adversity. Barry joins us today after taking time out of his hectic schedule to talk about VMI and a whole lot more. How are you, Barry?
Oh, hi, Amelia. Thanks so much for inviting me. Wow, what an introduction. I'm actually blushing. And I had to giggle to myself when you mentioned 26 years of the business through multiple highs and the occasional low. I have to say, when you run a business, there is nothing like the highs, and there are many, many lows of being kicked on the floor. But it's not whether you get kicked down, it's whether you get back up again. That's really important. How am I feeling? Great. And you know what? A few years ago, I learned that there are 650,000 hours in the average life. That shocked me, really, because it was a number that I could actually imagine. So you have to live to 114 and a half to make 1 million hours, which is one of is a good aim to have. But I think the most important thing about that is you've got to make the most of every hour and every minute in every day. And I think it's crucial that we have to get up in the morning and be truly excited about what we do. Because if you don't enjoy what you do, it's time to do something else. And I for one, am very goal orientated. And I feel that even if you've got a big project, and a big project is chopped up into lots and lots of little bits, as long as you do a little bit every single day, you can be excited about what you do.
Well, Barry, what a fantastic sentiment. I wondered if we could start our conversation perhaps with how you became involved with West London Business in the first place.
Well, I've been receiving lots of invitations from Park Royal Business Group about various events. And we attended a couple, and they were really good. And eventually I decided to join. And I am so pleased that I did, because as an industry professional, we get to know obviously all of our staff and all of our customers and suppliers and competitors, but there's no one really that you can talk about business issues with. And running a company, especially during difficult times, can be a bit of a lonely experience, and you make a lot of it up as you go along. So the network of other business owners, many of whom attend a lot of the regular events, they become friends, and they're all excited about their businesses, and they're happy to help and share everything that they've learned, and we help and support each other. So that's one of the aspects of Park Royal Business Group, as well as many of the other benefits that I've really, really enjoyed, and would encourage anybody listening to this to join up and contact you.
Well, that's great to hear, Barry, and that's it. That's precisely the premise of West London Business and the Park Royal Business Group. Now, your journey leading you to becoming an award-winning organisation hasn't come easy. The opening lines of your book talk about how VMI was teetering on the brink of bankruptcy in 2007. Would you mind telling me a little bit more about that and how VMI has actually blossomed since then?
Well, 2007, we were a family business, and we had an uninsured loss. It took us for £600,000. We were only a small company, and there was nothing that we could have done to prevent it from happening. And when it happened, we worked for many months on the premise that we were still going to be insured and didn't change very much. So it came as a real bolt out of the blue when we found out that there was no safety net at all. And it was really hard. We had to decide what we were going to do. And ultimately, we're all the sum product of all of our choices. And we didn't want to burn anybody. So we elected not to go down a Phoenix route. And it was just really very, very difficult because we had to shrink from 24 people to 12. It was a little bit like that scene in one of those comedies where one guy, he comes in through where somebody comes into a hotel and the doorman greets him, and then he goes behind the desk and he puts a hat on, and then he presses a bell and he puts a coat on and he takes the person to his room. We had to do all of that. But when everyone is working together to a shared vision and they all pull together and you really have the synergy, it's so rewarding and it's so great. But it has definitely not been without its challenges. And from that, we've just continued to improve and improve and improve. My dad always said you had to aim primarily for profit. And on this, I entirely disagree with him. As a customer service organization, we aim primarily for customer service, because if you keep your customers happy, then they come back and the revenue and the profit follows. So I think one of the things that's really important that I want to share with everyone is the importance of talking to your customers. We send an annual questionnaire survey every year, and we act on it. Many years ago, someone said, "Why are you sealing all of your cables in plastic? These are not sustainable. This is bad for the environment." And we changed it because it was a good idea. Years later, we adopted, courtesy of a grant from West London Business, on a net zero pathway, and the whole company is based around sustainability. So that's really, really good, and that came from one of our customers who really cared about what we did.
That's really inspirational, Barry, and I really appreciate your candor talking about how you overcame that adversity. So just coming back to now, overcoming those low times, and then ending up now as you are in a fantastically award-winning organization. Perhaps you could tell me a little bit about what goes through your mind when you pitch the organization for award nominations, and thinking of your wide-ranging story and all the various facets that you can demonstrate your excellence.
Well, first of all, you have to be sincere. It's a bit like greenwashing. If you're going to say that you do something, you really got to truly believe it. And the other thing for me is it's a bit like when we were at school, we had an essay to write. And I never used to get A's for my essays, but I found that I was always trying to answer a different question, the question that I wanted to answer, rather than the question that was actually being set. So read what it is that the award is about. Read everything several times to find out exactly what it is that the judges are looking for, and then try to craft your answer to address all of those things. And if you can do that, and if you can be sincere, and if you genuinely believe in what you're doing, that will come through. And that's been recognized in the awards that we've run, and we're delighted, because it's so nice to do good things, and it's even better to have them recognized.
Yes, quite right. Your whole story reflects very well, I think, on the whole theme of the West London Business Awards 2022 theme of celebrating resilience. And I think you're a showcase for that. And in fact, you won 2 categories. What are your reflections on the whole process and the experience of the awards in 2022?
I could not believe it when they called my name. I mean, it was truly, truly shocking. We'd always been a little bit of a bridesmaid rather than the bride, and then to win 2, and to win Business Leader of the Year, it was astonishing. Companies have to be resilient. They have to be resilient today, and it's more important now than ever before, because everything is changing. I love the story of Guinness, actually. When I did my MBA, I had a friend of mine that worked at Guinness, and they would change their advertising every single year, and what they did every single year. And the reason for that is their policy was, if it's working, then change it, because we have to be fresh. Our clients like us to be to always be doing interesting things. So whenever I have a plan, I make a strategy. And I know where I want to go, but I always leave 2 escape routes. It's really important to do that. So if things don't go right, you know what you're going to do. And if that doesn't work, you know where you're going to go as well. And that's always, I've always found that that's worked for me. I also write a business plan every year. I used to think that this was a little bit more work than was necessary, but it's a challenge that I do. I prepare contingency planning. You know, you do your forecasts and your cash flow, your P&L, your cash flow, your balance sheet, with the best case expected, pessimistic break even, and cash flow break even. And then once you write a plan and you have your forecasts, it's no good putting those in a drawer. You have to look at your MI, your monthly accounts every month, and see and compare every single line and see how close are they to what you thought, because your forecast will be based on your modeling. And if your modeling is wrong, you're not going to know unless you actually see if things are drifting. And if they are drifting, then ask yourself why, and find out and address it. So the West London Business Awards, they really are a big deal. That's another thing I came to learn after joining West London Business. A lot of people put a massive amount of effort into it. And I didn't really appreciate that when we first applied, but we stuck with it. And even after a few years, we've become winners. So I'm really, really pleased to be part of it. And I'm really pleased to continue to be part of Park Royal Business Group. It's a really, really great place to be part of.
Just finally, Barry, what do you think is the one thing that having won an award has brought to your business?
Okay, well, for me, it's recognition about the team, because it's not about me. I'm one person in the team. Once I set the direction, it's about getting everyone together. So we had a picture of all of the whole table of 10 who attended the award ceremony, and I really wanted to make sure that we had that picture on our website, because it's about the team, not about the person. So teamwork makes the dream work, we say. We love that. These are the words that we live by.
Well, Barry, that is truly inspirational, and you've had a fantastic year, you and your team. And it's lovely that you celebrate your team as much as yourself. And I really hope that others will find your words inspiring enough to enter the awards themselves. So I thank you for your time today, Barry.
Thank you very much, Amelia.
So we're out of time for today, but the West London Business Awards nomination process is just getting started. Head over to westlondon.com/awards right now to find out more about the various categories on offer and how you can make your entry and details of the deadline. Businesses, big or small, are welcome to enter, and we've dedicated categories for young business people as well, with our next generation categories. So there's no excuse for not sending us your entry. We have also got a range of partnership opportunities for organisations that want to support our 10th annual awards. So you can send me an email via amelia.grant@westlondon.com if this is something you'd like to discuss. We'll be back soon with our next West London Company Spotlight, and until we meet again, have a lovely day.